Penuel the Black Pen, no one in this country takes us for a boost more than the president, Cyril Ramaphosa. So an article came out yesterday where Cyril was opposing a fight, I think in parliament or elsewhere, where they were saying that as president, he is failing the country because of load shedding. Cyril claims that according to the constitution, the responsibility of water and water supply is that of local municipalities, and it is not the responsibility of the president or any of the national departments. Technically, legally, he may be right. And this is why some of us hate the constitution. This is why some of us say, fuck the law, because the law is merely a suggestion and it can be manipulated to suit whatever agenda. But the reality is that as the first citizen of the country, as the president, everything that has to do with national, provincial, local government flows up to him. He is the one that is meant to be the captain of the ship, that is meant to be cracking the whip. So for him to kind of be like, hey, Baba, hey, it's not my responsibility, us local, not me, is actually, frankly, bullshit. And it's actually giving South Africans a big fuck you. This is the same president that at some point went and said it is not government's responsibility to create jobs. Understanding that it's government and government departments that create the most jobs in this country. I'm speaking teachers, nurses, the police, traffic cops, doctors in public hospitals, administrators that work at home affairs, that work in certain departments. Cyril has the fucking audacity to say shit like government is not responsible for creating jobs. We've got doctors currently that were marching because there are some vacancies that are not being filled, whether it's because of budget or because of processes. And now he's coming to tell us that it's not his responsibility to provide a basic need per the constitution, which is electricity. I wouldn't be surprised because we've seen situations, I'm not going to mention the name because the algorithms pick up, but there was this huge illness apparently that was around in the world, and we were forced to take certain medications that had not gone through all the relevant necessary trials. And we were forced. They'll tell us, no, you're not forced, but we were psychologically coerced. People lost jobs. Students couldn't get on campus until they got the supposed trial medication. And it's come out now officially that people have died from adverse effects to this supposed medication. The same president who was going around telling us about family meetings, advising us to go and get this trial medication, is not going to come on and say, look, we made mistakes. We apologized. He'll be the same person to say, well, it wasn't me. It came from the World Health Organization. It came from the Department of Health. It's not me. While you were the fucking guy that was getting on camera telling us that this is what we need to do. And if we don't, we will be jailed. If we don't, there will be negative consequences. It's quite sad where we are as a country. And for those that don't know, tomorrow being Wednesday, the 1st of March, petrol is going up by R1.27 a litre. Things just keep going from bad to worse in this country. And we've got a president who never wants to be held liable for when things go bad. If things were going good, I can promise you now, if load shedding ended, he'd be the first person to want to take kudos for that. He'd be the first person to want to take kudos for if the economy does well. But whenever things are going bad, all of a sudden, it's not him, it's someone else. South Africa deserves a better leader. South Africa deserves a better president. I'm very angry and I'm disgusted by the ANC that continues to support Cyril Ramaphosa. I'm disgusted by the ANC that continues to support people like Obligated Mbalula, people like Tito Mboweni. These people gaslight people on Twitter almost every day, posting the biggest load of bullshit when they don't do their jobs. Tito Mboweni is left now, but at the time when he was brought back as Minister of Finance, he was literally also giving South Africans a big fuck you. South Africa deserves better than the ANC. South Africa deserves better than the current government that they have. And if each and every one of you is not going to be responsible for who you vote for, if each and every one of you is not going to be responsible for your job wherever you are, especially if you work in government, to say, I will do the best of my ability to serve this country. If each and every one of you are not going to intentionally buy from locally owned businesses so that we can create jobs here and stop supporting international businesses and stop buying imported stuff. Yes, I know Chinese clothing is cheap. Yes, I know it's nice to support a McDonald's and a KFC. Yes, I know it's nice to support certain car brands that are not local or not locally at least put together. But the reality is you are killing jobs locally. Every time you watch Netflix over DSTV, every time you're supporting overseas like we're doing now on YouTube, overseas social media platforms over local ones, we are destroying our local economy. And that is why we do not have jobs. We all have a responsibility to support what is local. We all have a responsibility to follow better leaders, especially community leaders. Who is leading you in your community and what work are they doing? Can you hold them to account, and can they hold other people to account? And where the local municipality is failing, where the provincial and national municipality or governments are failing, then you guys have to take matters into your own hands like Orania and say, in our space, we will fence off the space. We don't want government to fucking come in here, and we will ensure we have our own maybe borehole water. We'll have our own off-grid energy. We'll build our own schools that will not be in line with the fucking national education curriculum, because you guys are miseducating our children and you're teaching them to be useless people that are dependent on the state. We don't want your grants. We don't want your garbage. And in and amongst all of that, as we create a mini economy in our community, we're going to ensure that we avoid as much tax as possible. Legally, we're going to avoid as much tax as possible, because we can't keep funding fat, useless, old politicians that sleep in parliament and that ensure that they don't serve this country. Cyril Ramaphosa doesn't get load shed. The ministers don't get load shed. The rest of us have to struggle. And then they have the fucking audacity to tell us that it's not their responsibility. I'm disgusted. I try every day to not be gaslit by Cyril. That's why I don't tend to read his articles. That's why I don't listen to his speeches, because I know it's going to upset me. I don't follow Phil and Balula on Twitter because he makes me angry. I don't follow a lot of our supposed leaders. I don't like Pravin Gordhan. You know, we have a few ministers that I think do good work. They don't market themselves well. And unfortunately, they are part of a bullshit government. I don't think the Democratic Alliance is any better. I will say this again because people need to hear it. Go to the townships of the Western Cape. Go to the colored areas in the Western Cape and look at what the state of those spaces are. The DA must stop fucking around and also taking us for fucking clowns and showing us Cape Town as if they are responsible. Cape Town is great because they are very wealthy South Africans that live in Cape Town that ensure that things get sorted. Similar to a Sandton, similar to Umhlanga, similar to any amazing neighborhood where there are rich people. Because rich people control the politicians and they make sure that they get service. You need to judge a political party on what they are doing in the townships and the poor areas. Are those places clean? Do those places have low crime? 9 people have been shot in Westbury, which is about 5 kilometers from where I live, in Johannesburg. 9 people have been killed. There's drugs. The ANC government is aware that there's drugs there, just as the DA government is aware of drugs in the Cape Flats and other places there. What the fuck are they doing? Nothing. Because they're scared, because they're not real leaders. They will conveniently want to claim good things and then conveniently want to point fingers at bad things. The DA has been running Johannesburg and Gauteng for many years now. Many years under a coalition government. But every time there's a pothole, every time there's load shedding, it's the DA and most of the white people in Gauteng and clever blacks in Gauteng that are like, oh, it's the ANC. Why are you not blaming the DA? Because it's the DA that's running Gauteng. Convenient. But if load shedding were to end, the DA would be the first to be like, oh, we ended load shedding. If you guys let us run Gauteng, Johannesburg, Tshwane, Ekurhuleni again, we will get rid of. Why are you failing to do it now? It's because you're convenient politicians and you like fucking lying to people just so you can get votes. I don't believe in any of the political parties. I believe in community leaders that are putting their hands up to try and solve problems. Community leaders that are going to get people together and say, Excel, let's try and close the potholes. Excel, let's have community meetings where we can start discussing solar or other alternative off-grid situations. Community leaders who are going to say, let us set up a neighborhood watch group where certain men in the neighborhood and certain women are going to patrol. And we as a community are going to put a little bit of money. Yes, we already pay tax, but because of our safety and because we don't want crime and because we want our children to live in a safe environment, we will contribute 50 Rand, 100 Rand a month to pay these people that are going to patrol our areas so that we are safe. We are going to get hands-on in the schools in our communities and make sure that these schools are teaching agriculture. Make sure that these schools are teaching basic manufacturing and engineering. Making sure that these schools can run themselves sufficiently because the school is a supermarket or a spaza shop that we support. Make sure that the parents in the community, when they want to go and eat at a restaurant, they go to the local school or they go to the local church so that the money is funding so that money is being spent locally and funds local initiatives. It's time for community leaders to rise up because your local, provincial, national governments are not fucking doing their jobs. And whenever we call them to account, they point fingers at everyone else. Local government will tell you about provincial government. They're waiting for budgets. Provincial government will tell you all that national government was still struggling. Now at national government, we've got Cyril Ramaphosa, who has the fucking goal to come and tell us that it's not his responsibility to make sure that load shedding ends. We deserve better. And if you think you deserve what you have, it's fine. Keep voting ANC, keep fucking around. For some of us, let us try and isolate our communities and fence them off from the rest of South Africa and say that we have functional spaces. And when the rest of rubbish South Africans that keep supporting these motherfuckers want to come in, we will fucking move them back and tell them, go and live in your fucking township where your EFF leader and your ANC leader refuse to go live. Go live there. You vote for them and they live in fucking nice estates and they live in Lani neighborhoods because they actually don't fucking care about you. They don't. Pen you all the black pen, man. Have a great and blessed day. Don't fill up. Please don't fill up. That thing of trying to fill up and creating queues at fuel stations because the fuel is going up, it doesn't save you much. Do the maths. You might save 20 Rand, 50 Rand, 100 Rand, but then in a few days or in a week, you're back to scratch. Don't go and fucking cause congestion. But petrol is going up by 127 cents tomorrow, Wednesday, the 1st of March. Hope you guys had a great February. We had a lot of people pass on. We had a lot of people killed. It was just a somber month. And it's not helping that we've got a president who does not care about ordinary South Africans. Same guy who with Shanduga supplies coal to Eskom. Same guy who with Pembani supplies diesel to Eskom via engine. This is the same guy who's working with Glencore, who has the... Hey, umakhaleni usijwayela amasimba. Akekho ubaba usijwayela amasimba la eSouth Africa njengo Ramaphosa. I'm done.